suppose. But I had a bit of a setback earlier on in my career being delisted at Port at the age of 17. So it's something where I've worked back on and tried to get back in the AFL. And I don't know, hopefully I do peak in the next couple of years.
Were you surprised when that came? Was it a real kick in the guts?
Yeah, I had a few surgeries back then, and it was just something, it was a bit of a challenge at the time to try and get back onto a list. And yeah, I was pretty shattered at the time.
What about Friday night's match? The heaviest loss for the year, as we know, but boy, the flu really did appear to be going through the club. I know there'll be no excuses that you guys will say about it, but obviously it was a factor.
Yeah, we're not allowed to use excuses, and I don't think we deserve to either, because we played pretty terrible, basically. Like you said, it was our worst loss of the year, and there were some disappointing signs that we have to work pretty hard on this week, which started with a good night on the track Monday night. We did turn on pretty well, but Friday's game was just pretty disgraceful on our behalf, and after the game the boys were in the doldrums and pretty much shattered, but they're taking the weekend to get over it, and Monday, like I said, we trained pretty well.
Well, that is the last thing the Kangaroo fans watching want to hear, given you've got them this Saturday. You mentioned Matthew Clark's name earlier. He's having a terrific year as well. Is there much competition between yourself and Matthew, or is it really just sort of a partnership that's blossoming?
I don't know. We got referred to as Shane Warne and Tim May earlier on in the year as that sort of partnership, but I don't know about that, because Clarky's got a fair bit more brains than me, so that must mean I'm Warney at the moment, which I'd love to be in some respects, but not in others. So, I mean, I'm still learning off Clarky. He's coming up to his 200th game, and he's been playing AFL for a long time, and a lot of the time he cops a fair bit of a rap from people who haven't obviously played the game, but they're in the media and they have a go at him, and he's underappreciated, I think, and the way he goes about his business is just, good on his behalf. And when Rennie left the club, I learned a lot off him, and with those years that he was at the club and with Clarkie as well, I'm learning all the time off him.
Well, the stats show that the two of you lead the league in hit-outs to advantage, those that go directly to a teammate, and as a result of that, you also lead the league in clearances. And I know we can look too much in depth to statistics, but they also indicate you've got the best relationship with Mark Bickley, the number one in two in the league. Is it just pure coincidence that you find him a lot, or have the two of you just got some sort of understanding out there?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Bix is pretty mouthy on the field, so you can't keep him quiet for too long. That could be part of it, but the other part of it could be the extra money he's slipping Clarkie on the side.
Hosting the Kangaroos on Saturday, as I mentioned, Wayne Carey. He's not on the injury list, but he looked to be favouring his knee at times on Friday night, obviously still suffering the effects of the collision with the behind post. How did he pull up and train on Monday?
He trained pretty well. I think he might have possibly. I asked him, and he said he was right to go prior to the game, and as everyone else did, we would like to know how he's travelling with his knee, because it was a pretty superficial gash. So yeah, we were worried about him to start with, but I think he pulled up pretty well, and I reckon we'll be looking forward to him and Mark Stevens and Scott Welsh having a pretty formidable combination this Saturday. Yeah, we might talk about that more after the break, but I'm sure we've got plenty of fans at home eager to fire a question. If you would like to join us tonight, the number to call is 1300 65 65 25. You can SMS us, and we'll be back with you next here on White Line Fever.
Last week, Big Bad Barry was at his bustling best. Saturday, the Swans clash with the Magpies. As both teams square off the second spot, Sydney versus Collingwood, Saturday on Fox Footy Extra.
Telstra has a new easy way of getting messages on your home phone, and it's completely free. It's called Telstra Home Messages 101. It takes messages when you're away from the phone, even when you're on the phone or internet. To turn it on, just dial 101. You know, it's great doing television without having to do a gag.
Telstra Home Messages 101.
What's funny?
It's free to turn on and free to use. Dial 101 from home to turn it on.
So, you're having trouble getting enough?
Don't you worry about that.
Australian Idol Extra.
Of course.
Have we got clearance?
Our boys continue to go where they're not supposed to.
Let's go and have a look in the toilet.
To get you all the gossip you're not meant to know.
I'm not having an affair with Axel. He just wants some, okay?
You know what I love about Channel V is the beautiful backstage, behind-the-scenes access that we get at all sorts of places.
See it all with Australian Idol Extra, 6 days a week, exclusive to Channel V.
September on Fox Sports. Celebrate Alex Stewart's last international. Every ball of the 5th and final test between England and South Africa live from the Oval. That's cricket in September on Fox Sports.
Towards half forward. Biglands across the side. Great grab. Timed his leg perfectly. It's drifted across the front of the contest. Beautiful mark.
I guess tonight, Rhett Biglands in action against the Eagles a fortnight ago. Speaking of the Eagles, Rhett, you didn't have to confront Michael Gardner on that occasion. He's been impressive this year. Were you disappointed at missing out on that challenge?
I don't know. No, probably not. I mean, he's been in tremendous form. We played him in round 2 or 3, I think it was, earlier on in the year, and he was on fire then, and he's a hard man to stop when he's going well. He's so athletic and strong at every contest. I'd probably rate him as the best ruckman in the competition at the moment.
You talk about Mark Bickley demanding the ball. What about the skipper, Mark Rasciuto? What's it like having him near you in the clearances? His strength is just remarkable.
Yeah, he's a powerhouse. He's exceptionally strong across the midriff and takes on the tackler pretty well and still has the composure to give it off to one of our players. So his leadership around the stoppage is probably something that you can't really hear from the boundary line, but he's very instrumental with his voice and he's just pretty powerful. And like I said before, he gives the younger blokes a pretty, fair bit of confidence when he's around the place.
And does he say much? I mean, obviously he leads by example. You talk about some of the words there on the field. Does he say much either pre-game, quarter-time breaks, half-time breaks, just before you're going to start as you're all in there in a group before you break?
Yeah, he does. Typical captain's role, but he's, when he's under pressure, I think he lets his footballer do the talking. Sometimes he tends to. He's a country lad, so he struggles putting a few words together. But no, he's all right. I know he'll be watching that, so that's the only reason I said it.
Before we take some calls, Andrew McLeod, we know he can still turn it on. A couple of flashes there against the Magpies on Friday night, but there have been suggestions he's been a little quieter in the last few weeks. Do you get the feeling, though, that he's set for a big September?
I'm pretty sure he's excited about September coming around, and I think he's had a few different roles as well across half-back of late. We've needed to restructure our forward lines a few times with Carey and Stevens out a few times this year, so he's been up there, but he definitely hasn't been quiet. He's still been contributing, and I think he's about to explode on September. Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, you mentioned Stevens and Carey. Isn't it going to be exciting if all four of them, throw in Welsh and Perry, do play this Saturday? We saw it briefly in the Wizard Cup. We thought, what an awesome forward line this is going to be. Circumstances have meant they haven't been on the field at the same time during the course of the year. But first of all, Mark Stevens, he's obviously looking like he's fit and just about ready to go. He's due for some luck.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good at the moment. Him and Welsh, I think, are a definite key to our forward line. They're experienced campaigners, and the way that they attack the ball, especially Welshie in the air, and Steve-O's just his presence. He's got a bit of an aura about him, actually, the big fella. So it'll definitely will be good to have him in the side, especially against the Kangas this week, with a bit of luck.
Let's take some calls. Mark's a Crows fan who's first. Welcome to you, Mark.
Hi, how you going?
Good.
Just calling to ask Rhett, listen, just like all Crows fans, we were hurting after the game on the weekend. But listen, what about the flu situation? I mean, have most of the guys sort of pulled up all right for the weekend coming up?
Yeah, the two that missed on the weekend, they actually trained Monday night, and there was a bit of a report around the place that it was still lingering, but we're all getting through it. And as you know, you keep the vitamin C's up and flush the fluids through, and you get over them pretty well. So we're going to be primed, I think, for this week.
Good on you, Mark. Thanks for that. Jacob, a St Kilda supporter, is next. Hi, Jacob.
Hello.
How you going?
Good, thanks.
What would you like to ask Rhett?
How's Milne going?
How's Milne going?
Jacob?
I think you're probably asking a question for Max Hudson, Jacob, who's coming up a little later on. We won't put that one to Rhett. Maybe we'll move to Michael, who's another St Kilda supporter. I hope you've got a question for Rhett, Michael.
Who is the best player you've played on, Rhett?
Michael, it's a tough one. But I think when Corey McKernan was going around a few years ago, he was pretty tough to play on, and I think Gardner's been in pretty good form this year. So between the two of them, I think that'd probably be a pretty big challenge at any stage.
Good on you, Michael. Thanks for the call. Plenty off our SMS. Someone says you could look like David Letterman, which I find a little bit surprising. Another one, Simo's asking, did you ever try out for the Brisbane Bullets in the NBL?
No, I didn't try out for the Brisbane Bullets, but I don't know about the Letterman comment either. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. Daryl's a Crows fan. Who's next? Hi, Daryl.
G'day, Clinton. How you going?
Good, thanks.
G'day, Rhett. How you doing, mate?
G'day, yeah, not too bad.
Look, just a couple of things. First of all, Kevin Bartlett's not there tonight, is he, Clinton?
No.
Rhett, just wondering if the Crows are going to rue those earlier games that they lost by small margins, even understanding that some of those games were very tight anyway, but the games that they perhaps people would have expected to win, like the St Kilda game. But also, the effect that this flu's had last week, the Collingwood game, I know Ayresy, as a no-nonsense man, he's not going to wear that as an excuse. But last week and the build-up to this week, Dix hasn't been training. Do you think that that's going to come to haunt us towards the end of the year?
To answer your first question, I remember Mark Bickley, because that was a milestone game for him, the St Kilda game, and he knew straight away that it would probably come to haunt us. I remember we were out celebrating his milestone that night, and it was going to come back to haunt us, those tight ones, the St Kilda one especially. The other one that we lost to Fremantle, these games that go either way, and let's hope they don't cost us, but we'll just try and finish as high as we can. And your other question about the flu, I think, it's definitely passed. It's just going to get through. It's a thing that goes through all footy clubs, and unfortunately when you're surrounded by 40 blokes and you're showering with them and swimming with them and driving to and fro and on the airport with them all the time, it gets passed around pretty easily.
Good on you, Daryl. Thanks for the call. Jaron, another Crows fan. Welcome to you, Jaron.
How you going?
Good. Yep, fire away, Jaron.
Yeah, how's it going, Clinton?
Excellent, mate.
G'day, big man.
G'day, mate. How are you?
How you going? I'm a player, and I was just wondering, when you said you were dropped from Port Adelaide, well, just delisted, and you said you had to have some surgery, I was just wondering what it is and what surgery you had, because I'm a player and I had a bit of surgery, and I was wondering how long you're out for and what it was.
It's a good question. I actually had 3 groin operations on the conjoint tendon that runs from your pelvis down to your adductor and around your pelvis region. So I had 2 on one side and 1 on the other. They were all in the space of about 3 years, probably due to the fact that I was growing at being 18 years of age. And unfortunately, they took a fair while to get over, about 6 weeks with complete rest. And there you go on from there. It's a pretty common injury, the old groin, these days.
Did you think that your chances then of making in the AFL could be in jeopardy?
I thought about it for a while. Thought about getting on the dole and joining the army, but fortunately, I suppose, I was lucky enough to have a good season in the SANFL, and James Fantasia at the Crows gave me a bit of a lifeline, and I'm pretty thankful for him for that.
Yeah, as they say, the rest is history. Jaron, thanks for the call. Chris, another Crows fan, welcome.
Hello. How are you?
How you going?
Good, mate.
What do you find harder, a throw up or a throw in?
I don't know. I think the ball up's pretty hard because you're surrounded by so many players. But the throw in, I think you change a few different angles and go at that. But with the ball up around the ground, it's pretty sort of crowded and congested sometimes, and gets a little difficult.
And would you change the rules if you were sitting on the AFL Laws of the Game Committee at the end of this year? Have ruckman been harshly done by?
Grabbing the ball out the ruck?
Yeah.
On Clinton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Enough said. Chris, thank you. Geraldine, a Brisbane supporter, is next. Hi, Geraldine.
Oh, hi, Clinton. Hi, Rhett. How are you?
How you going, Geraldine?
I just want to let you know, I think you got a lousy deal last week, playing in Perth on the Sunday, then going and playing on a Friday in Melbourne, and the inequity in the AFL draw this year, I think, has been a disgrace. And something has got to be done about it. And it's amazing how many times Collingwood happens to have played a team that played in Perth the week before. And you guys must have been really tired after all that travel.
Well, you get used to it, but I think there was a few benefits out of it. We got a lot of frequent flyer points out of it. And it gave us the experience to travel and a bit of team bonding. So you just take it as it comes, I suppose.
A few off the SMS, Rhett, before we take one last call. Have you been in the boxing ring with Wayne Carey, asks Peter, and if so, how good is he?
No, I haven't, but I've heard he goes all right.
We're getting the obligatory ones about Patrick Swayze. David, a Port Adelaide supporter, wants to know about your impressions of Dean Brogan, who today re-signed for the club for another 3 years. What have been your impressions of Dean?
He's been much improved, I think. I think the way him and Brendan Lade have contributed to the Port side, Lady especially, I think that they've just got him back on track and they've done really well, held their own, I think, and I think Dean will probably poll pretty well in the Brownlow.
And one more caller. Let's take Daniel from Collingwood. Your call. Welcome, Daniel.
Hello. How do you think Josh Fraser is compared to other players you've ever played against?
I don't know how you compare Josh to others. I think he's he pushes forward very hard and he's a very good shot at goal, and he can take a very good mark as well. So they've got a lot of tools on that side who contribute well to their aerial contested marking. So they're a good side, Collingwood.
Yeah. And just a final one off the SMS before we let you go. How do you rate in terms of pace at the Crows, asks Andrew off our SMS. He reckons you're pretty quick.
I'm third at the club over 20.
Really?
Pretty shocking over 5K.
Who's numbers 1 and 2?
McLeod and Crow.
Gee, well, that's not a bad 2 to be behind. With Andrew injured at the moment, you'd be number 2.
Yeah, well, it's only 20, so that's about as far as I go.
Explosive pace then. We're going to add that to your repertoire. Rhett, it's been terrific to have you with us tonight. Again, congratulations on the way yourself and Matthew have been handling the ruck for Adelaide this year, and best of luck for the remaining 2 matches and then the finals. Thanks for your time tonight.
Yeah, no worries. It's been good.
Great to have Rhett Biglands.